Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Plum Wild Podcast. It's Wednesday, March 13th. I'm Nathan Waddell, and as always, I'm joined in the booth by my best friend, Damian Kiefer.
Good morning.
All right, tonight's episode is presented by Cody Williams Design. When you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you race good. Cody does great work on both real and virtual wraps, and we can attest to that since he's done my micro and your late model. So rev up your style with Cody Williams Design. You can find his page on both Facebook and Instagram. And while you're there, be sure to use code PLUMWILD20 for 20% off. Big shout out to Cody Williams for coming on board to sponsor another episode. He was a sponsor, like
Prior.
Prior, yeah.
Probably I think 10 weeks ago now.
Yeah. I think 10 weeks ago sounds about right. But we got a lot to catch up on. But first, how we doing today, Keith?
Not doing bad. It's been a long week. I've been busting tail this week, trying to get a lot of stuff done, trying to get that money.
Get that money. Yeah, me too. Yeah. That's the grind, you know.
The grind has been real. Girlfriend's been here all week.
Don't rub it in, bro. Hannah's across the country, and you got your girlfriend with you right now.
We can just start with, I guess, what has happened in sequence of life. I don't think we did anything after Tuesday or Wednesday. Besides, I went to Kansas City for the weekend.
Yep.
Hung out with some friends, went to the bars, had a good old time. Grand old time. I had some fire Chinese at like 9:30 delivered to the hotel. I'm not even kidding dude. It's probably the best Chinese food I've ever had in my life.
So was that the same night that you FaceTimed me?
I literally I hung up the phone to get the Chinese because she was coming in the door.
Yeah. So Kiefer FaceTimed me in nothing but his underwear, laying down on the bed, and he was like, "Dude,
all out."
Yeah, he was like, "Dude, I've been drinking all day." I could tell already, dude.
I was slamming them. I was slamming the. I'll be honest. What I was drinking, them vodka Red Bulls and the vodka crayons. I had some baller. I started off the day with mimosas.
It's a classic brunch drink.
Naturally,
yeah.
Sorry, I had a whole pitcher, and that was the start of the day.
Pitcher, golly.
And then yeah, a lot of mixed drinks. I did have a few beers. You guys would be proud. I drank probably 4 beers.
You probably did you have any of Eddie Farnes's favorite drinks, some White Claws?
I did not. I didn't do the seltzer thing. I did drink some wine. I drank a
white
stout.
Or red wine?
Red.
Well, I'm not big on red wine. I like white wine.
Red wine's words.
I'm a bit of a pussy whenever it comes to that. Like red wine is just too bitter.
Everyone there I was with was like, red wine sucks, and I'm like, F you.
Kiefer, you probably, I don't know. You strike me as the type of guy that. Nah, I ain't gonna say that, because you're not.
Dude, I wore a white shirt all day, and kept it clean. That's how you know I can drink red wine.
Red wine. He can drink red wine.
Because people that can't keep their shirts clean or anything, they gotta drink white wine because you get red wine on you, you're done.
Yeah. Well,
it's there all night.
So you went to KC, and then Monday night we had the finale of the Northwest Racing Association Plum Wild Podcast Super Late Models. Yeah. Finale at Volusia. I came in to the final race 5th in the points with no shot at winning the points. Unfortunately, just haven't had the season that
Nathan wrecked me out of beating him in points. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. But we started the night really strong as far as like the both of us combined. You went out for qualifying first. I was like, I'm gonna hang back here.
I think I was the first person to make a lap. Honestly,
you hit like a
qualified quick time
14.65, 9.5,
9.53 or 9.63 or
yeah.
something like that.
And I mean, it was just rolling, and I was like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, what line did you? I was like, I gotta ask him, what line did you run in? It was middle.
It was like a middle. It's like a middle line. Like I don't know how to else to really, and that's what I did. I mean,
and so you went
I
quick
never
time,
lifted.
and I qualified fourth, and the the qualify. If y'all don't remember, the qualifier, the quick qualifier has the option of taking the money and inverting the top 4 of the heat races, or not taking the money and starting straight up. And so Kiefer had the option of $30 in an invert or no money and no invert. And I told Kiefer, I was like, I will pay you $30 not to invert this.
I'm still waiting for my 30.
Well, we never shook on it.
Okay.
So no invert.
I see how it is.
And only 3 heats.
Only 3 heats.
Only 3 heats.
We did have. I mean,
I didn't
championship
know
night. There was only a few. There was like the top 10 was kind of not settled, but like the top 15 was settled. So I get it. It was a decent car count.
Your mic's making a weird noise.
One of our fans had a good night going. Rodney. Felt bad for him, dude. I was upset for him.
This is what I told him during the race, and what I tell everyone is to take the positives whichever way they come, which is, or learn from it whichever way you can. And there was a couple of ways he could have learned from it, which was, one was a positive thing that he could learn from was that he can compete. Like he qualified well. He ran really well in his heat race. So like you can learn from that, hey, I can compete. And then the other thing that he learned was whenever I believe it was Cruz Caudill slid up in front of him, he lifted too much, which got him ran over.
Like it's crazy to see like how much like he's struggled in NWRA. Like it hasn't been his greatest season for the NWRA and the supers at least. But like that kid, he was dedicated. He stuck through it, and like to see where he was week 1 to week 10,
just over 10 weeks is crazy, yeah.
But like you don't see very many people that just put all 10 weeks in there and just grind it out and just like your goal is just to make the race, and that's the first. He made a lot of ground though, and racing with a lot of pretty good guys, and we had we can just go back to heat races. Me and Nathan started front row heat race 1.
We had a Plum Wild podcast front row baby, dude. Of heat 1.
I think that me and him were honestly like pretty much the same speed in that heat race. I think you missed the line
so much, dude.
Shut up. This guy is not lifting for me. Don't let him fool you.
I was just trying to stay with you.
Nathan's 120% whenever he's behind me. There's no doubt. And like I'm 130 in front or trying to be in front of him. But no, I felt like we were really even there. I think you just made one little bobble, and I got some separation, and then I made a bobble, and then separation was you were right back there.
Well, we were pulling away from whoever it was that was in third.
Yeah, we got lucky. Good.
We got lucky in that heat race because Yeager
pushed, messed up.
He pushed
first lap,
or he got hit, one of the two, and he was out of out of our rear view mirror.
He had to put a B main, so that sucked for him.
But so we ended up going 1-2 in that, and
I started on the pole. Nathan starts 4th for the feature.
And I believe it was Chase Barber in 2nd and Hayden Tollison in 3rd, and we took off, and I had the outside line, which was kind of where I wanted to be, and I got around Hayden, or at least kind of cleared him. He moved up behind me or whatever, and I think this was in like 1 or 2, maybe 3 laps, and I got underneath.
It was first 5.
Yeah, I got underneath Chase going down the back stretch because I felt so much faster than Chase, and it kind of surprised me. I didn't know if he was on lower air or trying to save because it was a 75-lap feature for the finale. And I got underneath him down the back straightaway, and I wanted to stay underneath him even though I had him. He was at my right rear quarter panel, and I was content with being in that situation, but I tail whipped him whenever I went to rotate the car into 3 and 4. I wasn't trying to slide him. I wasn't, I guess we just entered too close together, and so he caught my right rear, and from there, I mean, that kind of ruined my night. Not because I got wrecked or because I dropped back so far. I only dropped back to 7th, but from there I just kind of got ping-ponged around and overall couldn't really do much from there. Not much else really to say about my feature from there. But you, on the other hand, you were up front.
I believe I led like the first 48 laps. First 40, we were feeling really good. Prior to the feature, I made the setup like in like warm up. I made the setup.
Mm-hmm.
Honest to God, like you know how I operate half the time. I made a change on it that I was iffy about, and I was like, I don't know if I should do this or what should I do, and then I put way too much fuel in first off, but I'm not. We'll just say that's not the excuse, and then we can go straight into the driving aspect. But I think I think I made a mistake on the setup, which really hurt me a lot. But driving aspect wise, for the first 50, I had a banger race there. I felt really, really good for the first 40, leading. Really comfortable. I could ride my own pace. I wasn't really having to push or anything. And then Connor got to me racing for the lead, and we had a really good battle. I was a little bit better than him in 1 and 2, and he was better than me in 3 and 4. And then I finally made an error in 1 and 2, which got him, and he was on the bottom at that time. It got him under me, and he cleared me in 3 and 4, and that was that. And then I was still kind of struggling. I was fighting. I was tight on entry, and I was having to snap the car and lose all of my traction.
Yeah.
And then once ever I was getting it snapped, I was so free. And then
Dylan.
I kept it together. Jaeger slid me in 3. I was riding 3rd till about 4 to go, and then Hayden moved me out of the way and got by me. So we ended up 4th, led 2/3 of the race. I feel like if I go back in time, I know you can't. You can say whatever you want, and think whatever you want all the time, but I think if I go back in time and make the changes that I wanted to, I don't know why I did it, and then not put that much fuel in there. I think I'd be a little bit better, but we were close, man. We gave him hell on the last week.
Yeah,
ended
your season really well with a top 4.
I'll take it. I struggled the first 5 weeks in WRA. Same thing as Pro Series, and I came back alive there just a little bit too late. Just had a few races that kind of really cost me. I felt like I had 3 weeks were part of like me as a driver, and then just certain situations just got me screwed up and really hurt me in points. And it kind of just shows people like I think I already finished 8th in points.
Yeah.
If I would have just finished, and not had like got any conflicts or had any BS or any of that, I think I run like 3rd in points.
I mean, that's not bad.
With those, like, especially those 2 weeks that I was running in the top 5, and I screwed myself by just dumb stuff.
Yeah,
but you can talk with it, but it just shows like how much consistency week by week it means over the long term. And
well, it also shows like just how tough NWRA is. Like,
yeah,
it's definitely
the competition level this past season was like really, really strong in the late model class. I felt like,
yeah,
especially in the supers.
Yeah, we had several different winners.
I think we had 7 or 8 different winners.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just a tough season overall. I started the season strong and then just kind of just faded. Qualifying set me back so many different times, which is one of those things that there's no one to blame but yourself. And I mean, I tried to make the most of it. Whenever I didn't qualify well, the sets were always fast. Just that's part of it. And you know, I think I ended up 6th in points, which isn't horrible.
No,
but I definitely came into the season with higher expectations, and then finishing 3rd in the opener definitely set the tempo that I needed early.
Yeah.
The tone that I needed early. But you know, just go back to the drawing board and try to keep getting better, work on the things that I know I need to work on, and hopefully if there is a next season, which I think there will be, we can do better. Overall, though, I'm glad that Eddie did it. You know, he brought NWRA back, and I think overall it was a very good season. Entertaining, stressful for Eddie, I'm sure. We definitely gave him enough of an earful each week, especially in the supers. But thankful for Eddie for putting on a league with the caliber of competition and doing what he does. Like we give him, and we try to tell him this as often as we can.
Few weeks there.
Yeah, we try to tell him as often as we can. But
the over/under was 3.5. I think I said it, and you have to go back and look in a prior episode. I'm pretty sure that's what I said was 3.5. On whenever how many times he said he was going to quit.
Yeah,
I think it was 3.5. I think we had 5.
You think we had 5?
Or 6.
We might have. Just for us supers, you know. And then he's got 3 or 4 other divisions, like big blocks fixed big blocks game. Fixed pros, and then street stocks. Like, but we wanted to specifically let him know that for all the shit that we give him, for all the bitching about, you know, bad calls or, you know, his rules or whatever, we want to say thank you, Eddie, for putting on NWRA and giving us a great league to run in and have fun and run for some money too, because your arch nemesis, as some might think, Connor New. I want to give a shout out to Connor for winning the points
today.
Were you? Okay, so not arch. Yeah. Okay, well, maybe not arch nemesis.
We're civil. It's just sometimes like things on the race, but the things on the racetrack should stay on the racetrack. After the race is over, and like what's said is said. Like I could, honest to God, I think I could, if someone was in a race and they killed, like, just destroyed me. Okay, next weekend, think I'll go to dinner with them. Like, it wouldn't bother me. It would not bother me at all.
I'll hold you to that.
No, I'm gonna have feelings towards them that are still negative, but like I'm not gonna not go to dinner with them.
Yeah.
Like I'll still like, and I'll still have a conversation with them. I just like afterwards be like, man, I hate that.
I hate racing that motherfucker. Hate racing him, but yeah.
But like I'll sit there and have a conversation with you, or like and talk to you like you're a person. You know, I'm not gonna.
Well,
but yeah, Connor's buying dinner.
Yeah, apparently. Connor picked up the win in the finale and won the points. So shout out to Connor New. He's, I mean, we had him on the podcast a month or so ago, maybe longer. And I mean, the kid's got so much potential, and he's already showing so much of it. And so congratulations to Connor on that. And a couple other things I wanted to bring up before we bring on our special guest. I picked up another league that I'm running. It's the micros, winged and non-winged. It's the IMSS. I believe it used to be an R Factor thing, and now they've turned it into iRacing with the micros. It's I missed the first week, but got in for the second week Monday night. It's Monday nights and Thursday nights. Monday nights is the wingless, and Thursday nights are the non-wing. For this week is Tulsa, next week is Kern, and then they finish it at Millbridge. It's only a 4-week series, but there's one drop. So Monday night was non-winged at Tulsa and didn't qualify all that well, but I ran well in the heat, I think I won the Consi if I had to run the Consi, or I finished second to Rylan in the Consi. And finished 7th in the feature. Wanted to give a shout out. We're giving shout outs a lot in this episode, but I wanted to give a shout out to Rylan Gray for the sets that he's put out over at CFM. Like, those sets feel so good. So I appreciate him for that. Speaking of which, I love the micros.
You love the micros?
Love them, dude. But that's all I've got for the pre-guest part. Are you ready to bring on our special guest, Brett Wheeler?
I think it's time. We've been rambling long enough.
Yeah, it is time. It's time. We'll be right back with our special guest for this week's episode, Brett Wheeler. All right. We are back with our special guest for this episode, Ultimate Dirt TV's Brett Wheeler. He's everyone's favorite Australian broadcaster, making some of the most incredible calls in all of sim racing over the years. He's been on the podcast before, but only briefly during the Frenzy special, so we decided he deserved an entire episode to himself. Brett, welcome back to the Plum Wild podcast.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
How have you been, man?
I'm still crippled.
Still crippled.
I love getting everyone with that. You know what? I'm still yet to have someone come back with a good comment for that one. So if someone finds a good comment, just let me know.
I love that in the NLRA Discord, there's the soundboard clip of Chris Griffin from Family Guy saying, "You're a two-wheeled monster," and someone in there will always spam it whenever you're in the Discord with us.
You can thank James Ross for that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, James, to that. So we
Actually,
always.
I got another one. Hang on.
I don't know if it'll come through. It should. We got one.
Maybe.
Right.
Hang on. Under this, there's actually two. There's one that Peter Griffin says to Joe when they're playing golf. He's like, "What's your handicap?" James Ross plays that one as well, and he gets me with both of them. So
you know what? They need to add the one where it's at the very beginning of Family Guy, and Peter doesn't know that Joe is in a wheelchair, and he invites him to be on the baseball team for his work. And whenever Joe rolls up, he goes, "Holy crap, he's a crapple." I love that part. You need to add that one. That one's pretty good.
we'll look into that one.
So we always ask all of our guests, because I think most people want to know it. We got to ask it. How did you get into sim racing, Brett?
2012 R Factor, I think it was. That's where I first started. That's where I first got into sim racing, and from there I've never been able to get out of it. I've tried, but I keep coming back into it, and it's just it's an addiction.
Yeah.
But it's a good addiction, because rather than going out and this is the way my partner sees it, she knows where I am. Like if I'm on the computer doing sim racing, she knows where I am. She knows
there's nothing wrong. There's really. That's what I think. Like my girlfriend's the same way.
Yep.
Well, how did you get into the R Factor? Like, how did you hear? Like, was it something that you had been looking for, and then you were like, "Holy shit, there is, dirt for gaming,"
I have no idea how I actually got.
I know it's been a while, right? 2012, but
yeah, 12 years ago. But the first wheel I bought was a Logitech Momo, and like that's going back a fair way. Like that'll tell you how long I've been in sim racing for. So yeah, wow, you must be new around here. So that was my first wheel, and then I think I ended up getting a Logitech G27. Again, that was before I was in, before I got into a wheelchair. And then just never got away from it.
Speaking of that, what is the because I've wanted to know for a while, what does the controls look like for the throttle and gas with the fact that you're in a wheelchair?
All right, so simple. I'm rolling away. Right, so this is all that I'm using. So it's the Fanatec base.
Yep.
Okay, then you got the McLaren GT3 rim.
Okay.
Yep.
I would take it off, but I'm afraid of the pins breaking. But if you have a look at the back here, so this orange or gold paddle, whatever you want to call it, that's just on and off. Okay, it's just a flicker.
Yep.
So when I'm running like wing sprint cars, that'll be my control button to move the wing back and forward, to tighten it up, loosen up, whatever. This little paddle here, just trying to get it there. That one there, that allows me to have throttle control. So that's what I.
That's on the left side.
No, that's my brake.
I can't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's just brake.
Like, you said throttle.
It's the same.
It's the same thing on this side.
I get that. You just said throttle, and I was like, that's on the left side though. So
yeah,
I know you're in Australia. I didn't know if that was backwards too.
fuck off out of here. Bullshit.
Wait, we get
No,
out
that's-
on the body.
That's really cool. You know, I've seen a lot of people commend iRacing for how helpful they are in helping people set up, you know, things that they need in order to race if they have disabilities and stuff like that. So that's pretty neat that you. How hard was that to set up?
It's simple. It's just a McLaren. It's just a Fanatec base, and then put the wheel on it. That's it. That's how simple it is. But before I found that as a solution, what I was using called a sim racer wheel or sim racing wheel. It's exactly the same as that, but it was plastic, and there was no force feedback. You couldn't hook it onto anything. It was just like an F1 IndyCar type wheel. It was the worst thing possible. But what I'd done is there was some YouTube tutorials out there that people would hook onto a Logitech G27 base or a G25 base. And because I had a couple of them at home, I just took the wheel part off, plugged the sim racer wheel on, and used that. So it was similar to that, but the fact that they were plastic, they would last me like 3 or 4 months, and then they would break. And because they're discontinued, buying them was like nearly $200-300 per wheel, and they were just shit. So like
That's rough.
that becomes expensive. So it's like that's when I sort of started searching around, and that's when I came across that and stuff like that. So
That's awesome. It kind of surprised me because I haven't really been in the scene. And I've said this a lot on the podcast, but I haven't been in the scene for too long. And I don't really know much of the history, and it kind of surprised me. Don't take this the wrong way. It kind of surprised me that you had actually made a Sprint Car Pro Series back in 2020, 2021, that year where they went, the first year that they went through the new year. That's incredible. And you did that with which setup? The one that you have now or the one before?
the one that I have now. No, the one that I have now. And see, I've got 4 screens, but I don't even use the 3 screens. I use a VR. So
Gotcha.
when I went from one screen, racing on one screen, even though I had the 3 set up, I used only ever race on the one screen. Went to VR. Honestly, I picked up 0.2 of a second straight away in sprint cars, and it just blew my mind away.
Which
I was
VR?
like, I'm never Oculus
The Rift S?
CV1.
Oh God!
The very first one.
You ever gonna upgrade that thing?
No, God no. Listen. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right, and it's not broke just yet.
Hey, I'm the same way. That's why I won't buy a new wheel, dude.
That's-
Like it like mine's like Nathan gave me another wheel for a spare actually.
No, because
and I
yours
have
broke.
I scuffed it, fixed it because I like the feel of it better.
I didn't know you did that. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's scuffed. Like my wheel setup is like janky, like kind of like how what you're saying. Because I have the same problem because they're made of plastic. But yeah, I need to invest myself in a better wheel like that. But you know, just
if it
the
ain't broke, don't
fact
fix
that
it.
the fact that you were like a 2-time Pro Series driver,
One time.
one time, sorry, but I believe you had a top 3. Did you make a podium? Or no? No.
No, I think I don't know. I think I only made 3 races in the.
But still, with just
the
your
main-
hand, I couldn't even imagine. Like, could you imagine like throttle control in a sprint car with your hands, Nathan?
No, I can barely do it with
Like,
my feet.
That I can't
so-
even do it with my feet. That's what I'm not even. I'm just gonna say it. Can't do it with my feet. This man does it with his hands. And steers while he's doing it.
Yeah, that's
Like you're steering and like what?
right
Use your
hand,
pinky-
right
use pinky.
hand. No, these ones.
Man.
I'm
was
not
good.
lying when I've done that.
Wow.
But
So-
yeah, no, it is difficult, and that's why I don't run like the non-wing cars, like because you've also got to use a lot of right
Steering.
hand down. When it comes to those sort of cars, I struggle with because, like you said, my right hand controls the accelerator, so having it down on the bottom while you're like that, it's a pain in the ass. And yeah, those smaller and tighter tracks are a pain in the ass. Whereas you're like the big half-mile tracks or USA, those big longer tracks where I've got time to get myself set because they're longer and straighter.
Yeah.
I'm fine at those tracks. Smaller tracks, I will struggle every day of the week.
Have you experimented much with like the map range of the wheel, like turning it down so that you don't have to move it as much? That way you can, kind of keep your hands at a. I mean, if you've seen the Dylan Hauser video of him showing where he runs like a 65-degree range, he barely moves the wheel like an inch both ways, and it turns in the sim like way further.
I haven't touched it. I just leave it. I don't even know what my settings are, to be honest with you. They're probably just default
That's
stuff.
pretty much what mine are.
Yeah, I don't mess with it much, but I was just saying, like, for your case, those smaller tracks, I would imagine that it would help.
It might be easier.
Might be something to look into, Well, I got another.
I go back to my comment. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Hey, I was watching Camden Johnson yesterday in a official race, and his map range was like 900 or 1,000 or something. But I'm watching this man go down to the corner, and his wheels are going. And we had to turn. I turned his down. No, his map range was super high. So this man would turn his wheel like a centimeter, and it turned like 4 inches.
I think you have it backwards, but yeah.
No.
So I'm curious how you got into the broadcasting side of sim racing. Were you always, have you broadcasted IRL before, or was it a void that you kind of saw that you could try to fill?
So when I was young and even growing up, when I would play the PlayStation or rugby games on the computer, even just watching rugby on the television, right? I was always one to just talk and commentate it. And I had a friend, Tyler Burnett, comes to me in late 2012, 2013, and goes, "Hey mate," and this again, like there was no broadcasting on R Factor, and he comes to me and goes, "Do you know anyone that would want to do some commentating?" So, what kind of commentating? Like, what do you want to do? He goes, I just want to broadcast an R Factor league. I guess we might have a cameraman lined up. He goes, I'm going to use himself as a commentator. So I'll give it a go with you. Anyhow, Dirt Sim TV was formed on R Factor. There was Tyler Burnett, myself, and the late Keith Fitzgerald. So we started that, and it just took off. And again, because there was no one else doing broadcasting, like it just wasn't there.
You filled a void.
No one had come up with it. Yeah, it was like there are plenty of league races, but no one broadcasting because back then everybody wanted to race. Well, Tyler just said, "Look, I want to broadcast." Keith goes, "Yeah, I can produce." I said, "Oh, screw it, get me in, I'll help you out." And we did the first broadcast, and it just took off. He got messages left, right, and center. Hey, can you broadcast this? Can you broadcast that? And then all of a sudden, we're fucking booked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, for every day of the week. And then these big money races come along saying, right, we're going to pay. And at that stage, you look at Eddie Livingston, right? D1RT owner.
Mm-hmm.
He was, back on R Factor,
Mm-hmm.
putting up $1,000 races back on R Factor. This is like, I'm
That's
talking
crazy.
10, 11 years ago. Like you look at now, okay, you got VLR, which is $5,000-6,000 to win for their spring fling, but you go back a decade ago, Eddie's putting up $1,000 as a prize purse, $1,000 to win, all this sort of stuff, and we had the likes of Ricky Thornton running back then, and I'm going to name a few drivers, and you might have heard of them. All right, so we'll go Ricky Thornton, we'll go Christopher Bell, we'll go Chase Briscoe, we'll go Tyler Thomas, Andrew Felker. Who was I just missing? I was going to say, but I tell you right now, there's a lot of these real life drivers now that are big time. Like we haven't had Kyle Larson, Rico Abreu. We run the Chili Bowl, so they run with Simpro Racing. But yeah, it just it took off. And if you actually Google the R Factor World Finals promo, I'll never forget this, and this is what really set us and put us on the next level when it comes to broadcasting was. We had a 100-lap Eldora race, the Dream 100, or the World 100, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And back then, there was no track state where it would wear in. It was set through a TDF, what they called it. So it was just at the same track state all race long. All right. Ricky Thornton, Caleb McLaughlin, coming to the checkered flag. literally side by side. And if you go to YouTube, you type in R Factor World Finals promo. I think it's about 45 seconds long. I'll give you a warning. Turn the volume down. I go ballistic. And like this is on lap 100. And from then we ended up doing like the World Finals again. There was modified sprint cars, late models. We broadcasted it all. And that's how I sort of got into. Yep. And again, it's Chase Briscoe was there. I mean, there's there's a couple of PA guys that run sprint cars now. Cody Hartleb ran, Troy Wagman. There's just a number of guys that have gone from the sim to now do it professionally in the real world, and it's cool to see. So yeah, that's how I sort of got involved in that. And then when iRacing said that Dirt was finally coming out, it was just, well, okay, fine, let's move from R Factor to iRacing. And it took a while for me. I think it took about a year or so, because I would just, I didn't start Ultimate Dirt TV till I think late 2016. So I was just going from company to company, from league to league, just saying, right, this is who I am, this is what I can do. You want me, this is my price. And it's not like ridiculous money. So it's pocket change. It's almost like a meal. So, and yeah, that's just sort of started. And then I had someone say, "Well, why don't you start your own company?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, no worries." So I actually I'd started it in late 2016, December it was, and I'd had like 3,000 followers, but then it was under a different name. It wasn't under Ultimate Dirt TV. So because I wanted to change the name, Facebook wouldn't let me. So I had to start from scratch again. So I created a new Facebook under Ultimate Dirt TV and had to go through all the bullshit again just to get those followers back, and the growing pains. So, and then here we are with now, but like I've got access to with the cross posting that I do, I've got access to over like 50,000 people on social media that I broadcast to each and every week. So it's crazy numbers when I go back and think about it. So.
I mean, it's really
some of the races.
No, go ahead, Keith.
Sorry. Some of the races you've broadcasted have 100,000 views on some of them, or 200,000 views, and we've had some like banger races that you've broadcasted. And I have a few moments with you behind their announcing booth with me, like winning races and stuff. And like that's some of my most memorable moments is going back on the UDTV broadcast. And like I was telling Brett this the other day, like my Tuesday morning to work, I usually turn on the YouTube video of the Monday night NWRA race and just listen to it. And that's usually what I do. And I was yapping to him. I was like, dude, I need a micro league with you broadcast. It's like I hear you yap.
Funny you say that. Like I said, this morning for you guys, last night for me, about 14 hours ago, I actually broadcasted a micro league at Millbridge. So yeah, it's on the page if you want to listen to that.
I'll have something to listen to. Thank God.
You've just been. I want to give you your props. I don't know. I'm sure you get them, but I want to give you your props. Like, just from what I can tell, you've been very instrumental in the growth of sim racing. Just from in the booth, not. I wouldn't necessarily say not just as a promoter, but like as a broadcaster. Just what you've done in the broadcasting booth has been so instrumental in the growth of sim racing, at least the dirt side of it. I don't know how much you do of the asphalt. I don't really keep up with asphalt. I don't keep up with asphalt, so I wouldn't know. But I appreciate you for that. I have a couple of general questions about the broadcasting and the racing. Is how often nowadays do you broadcast per week? I know you could probably just look at your YouTube and detect that, but what is the schedule like now?
I'm gonna guess 4 or 5.
Oh, I can tell you right. Like I don't even have to look. I don't even have to look at a schedule. Like I'll wake up one morning and go, right, I've got this. So okay, so I'll go back and I'll talk American time zones, right? Because if I talk Australian time zone, it becomes a little difficult because of the difference. So Sunday night, we've got World of Thunder. Monday night, for the past 10 weeks, we had Northwest Racing Association. Tuesday night, back with World of Thunder. Wednesday night, I had Down and Dirty Outlaws, but that's now going to change to Aces Up Sim Sports. Plus over tonight and next week is the Northwest Racing Association Pro Late Models. Thursday night, coast to coast, we have 2 races for that. and then we had one after, which was the Down and Dirty Outlaws, but that's now finished. And then Saturday, Sunday, my time is done, but also Australian time, Monday and Wednesday night. So I can do up to 10, maybe 15 if I really wanted to push myself, but I generally keep it sort of 7, 8, 9. That's a good number for me. But like I said, if people want their races broadcasted, if I've got a time zone free, if my time slot's free where it's not going to overlap somebody else, and I give them a 2-hour window, right? Because it shouldn't take any more than 2 hours to run a race on dirt. Regardless if it's 30, 50, 75, or 100 laps, it still shouldn't take over 2 hours.
Right.
So that's what I look at. If someone's got a league at 7, I'll say, right, as long as we're done by 9 o'clock Eastern, or again, depending on the time zone, if you've got that 2-hour window and you think we're going to be okay, I'll do it. If not, then I'll say, well, you either move it forward, maybe half hour, because I know that the times can be a little tricky for some people. But again, I don't want them to move their whole stuff around me. If they're happy to do it, then I'm happy to go ahead and do it. So, but yeah, look, again, 8's probably a good number for me. 10 is getting a little up there. Any more than 10, I'm buggered for a week. I'm buggered for the week. But you know what? Regardless, if I've got to do 10, 12, 15, I'm going to be there. The only one I'm not going to be there is if I'm sitting in a hospital bed. Like, we were talking like an hour ago. I was just telling you that 2 weeks ago I had the influenza A, and I'm sitting here still broadcasting like I could barely talk.
Yeah,
but you're still there.
I was still there, and thankfully, Steve McMillan was able to come in and help for those couple of days. And like that race that I'm talking about, like, man, you guys, you're going like 3, 4, and 5 wide, and I'm just like, you had to go that many wide when I'm sick as a dog. Like, you couldn't wait a week for me to get better, or you couldn't do it the week before. But like I said, it is what it is. So 10's a good number. 8 to 10, I'll say, is a good number for me.
Do you how much do you get to race, or how much do you desire to race? Since you do so much broadcasting.
That's a tough one, because lately, with the micros, man, I just want to get on a race. But at the same time, like, I've got a family here that also needs to see me, and that I want to see. So between the broadcast, if I'm doing 2 a day, that takes up 4 to 6 hours. That's me being on the computer, and then trying to race at night with the Aussies. We can get on, and like, I think on Sunday or Saturday, Friday night, whatever, Friday night I think it was. I think we raced for like 4 or 5 hours, and it didn't even feel like that. Like, we were just going from track to track in micros.
Oh, they're so much
and
fun.
It is. But I would love to do more racing. It's just, with the broadcasting side of things, it takes up nearly every night of the week. So another thing as well is that it's not a pain, but pain for me is just hooking the wheel up, unhooking the wheel up. It's just,
that's like me. Like, after this,
I get
the wheel back up.
I get lazy.
So you love the micros? I was going to ask you your thoughts on the micros, because I know you're a sprint car guy.
Love them.
I love them.
They are so much fun. Like, like I said, for the past week, with my micro league that I'm doing on Wednesday nights Australian time, which will be Wednesday morning for you guys. I've spent 3-4 days just putting up servers, just testing tracks, testing track states to see what's going to work, what isn't going to work, and I think I've got somewhat of an idea on where it should be. Like I said, last night for me, but this morning for you guys, I done a micro league, and I reset the track at Millbridge. I only had 16 cars take to the feature. First 17 laps went green flag, and then from then, unfortunately, it was a bit of a shit show, but it was still the fact that we had, I think it was 11 or 12 cautions in a 50-lap main event, but to get 17 laps with 16 cars, that's not a bad effort from everyone.
Yeah.
And using both top, bottom, middle line, like, people were throwing sliders, and it was real fun to watch. Like, it felt like I'd commentated, like, honestly, 6 or 7 laps, I look down and I'm on like lap 18. I'm like where the fuck did the time go?
Well, that definitely
especially on like
happens in
those
those.
banger races.
Yeah. That's what I was
Like
gonna
time
say.
flies. Like whenever like there's times where, say, if you, for instance, somehow manage to get in the lead and have a good lead, like it takes forever. And then me and Nathan were in a race earlier, and I thought that first battle was only like 3 laps. Turned out it was 8.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, like that was 8 laps. There's no way.
It goes by so quick, especially in the micros at the small tracks.
So intense, dude.
That's what I love. I got a couple more questions for you because I know you got to go. You got a broadcast, surprising, that you got to do.
Wow, this guy.
Not one, but two. Just saying.
Oh wow, so busy, man. But I'm sure you get this question a lot, but I want it. I want it on our podcast here. It's a double part question. What's your favorite one-liner of yours, if you have one, or one that kind of sticks out? As far as like my favorite is the I'm gonna bust a nut whenever they were coming out 5 wide at Eldora, and then also in the same vein, was the favorite race that you've called, or most fun race that you've called, or one that sticks out in your memory. So the one-liner in the race.
Okay, yeah, the one-liner, the oh my god, I'm gonna bust a nut. First one that comes to mind.
Yeah,
that's just. And that's sort of something that, like, you can't premeditate that sort of stuff.
Right.
Like, I'm one of those guys that will just say what's on my mind, but at the same time, I've got to think really quickly about what I'm going to say.
Keep it real, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Keep it real, but not cross
far.
that barrier to where it's going to be unprofessional. Because that's a big thing for me. You know, like, I want to bring that professionalism to the sim racing world and esports, because, you know, we get a lot of people looking at I'm not just going to say UDTV, but we get a lot of people looking at esports.
Right.
So, you know, there's a threshold to sort of to stick to, and that's what I do, and that I don't want to cross that line.
Well,
favorite race, I mean, it's hard to pick one, but I'm gonna go back, and this was, I want to say 2020 or 2021.
I'm gonna write this down because I'm gonna go back and watch it. Once you
good luck. Good luck trying to find this one. I'm trying to think of the league name. I'll come back to on the league name, but it was a super late model race at Limaland. 60 laps, 24 cars, and you might not believe when I tell you this, 5 and 6 wide. 60 green flag laps, and I'm talking like 5 and 6 wide in lap traffic as well. It was insane.
Was it like was it kind of like a was it a World of Thunder style league, like with a bunch of high profile drivers?
No. I'll come back to you on the name, because I will search it, because I know.
You can message me later if you think of it.
I want to say, David. If Cody's here, David Lamb. Pretty sure it was David Lamb. He run the league, and it was on, I don't know what night it was, but this was it was only, I think it was like an 8 or 10 week series, and just
that race.
Like I said, 5 and 6 wide at Limeland to go like 60 green flag laps. No, not that. It's David Lamb. He used to run, and I hate throwing setup shops out there now, because, like, you all know that pay to win.
That's exactly who you're thinking of. Yes.
Yes. Is it David Lamb? Is it David Lamb?
It's something like that.
Yep. He run a late model series, and I was broadcasting it. And yeah, that's probably one race that sticks out. But I mean, with the amount of races that I do, honestly, unless it's memorable, you know, and this, I don't want to sound like a dick for saying this, but they're all just another race to me.
Oh yeah,
like,
I understand that.
I could forget about it in 2 weeks' time. I could forget about it in 3 days' time.
That's kind of how I look at racing as well. Sometimes too.
It's not the fact that I don't appreciate the business and the support, but it's a fact that I do so many so often, and trying to keep up with the sponsors on the cars, the teams that people are running for.
It's impressive that you can.
I honestly, I could go in and, you can go into, and this is something I'm having to learn again with the micros, is what people are running for their paints. But if you honestly, you can put 20 super late models or even pro late models on a racetrack, same as sprint cars. I could go in there. You could share your screen. I could tell you exactly who is in whose car, what number they generally run, and that's just a case of because I do so much broadcasting, and a lot of the drivers that I see, I'll see in 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 nights a week. So it becomes, it's like my memory is pretty good. So
Yeah.
You could like you're saying you could build a driver profile for just about anyone if you had to.
Build a driver profile on any.
Yeah, it's really impressive, honestly. You mentioned it, and I want to know if you could just give me a guess on a range of how many races you think you've called over the years. Just a range. You don't have to get too specific unless you count them. If you had to guess on what do you think?
Since on iRacing or R Factor and iRacing?
All of it.
The 2,000 plus, easy, with like not even questioning that.
That's crazy.
It's incredible.
Like I said, like I look at what I've done this year in 3 months or 2.5 months. World of Thunder ran 2 races a night on Sunday and Tuesday. Tuesday's only been the last probably 6 weeks, but still, like, there's 4 races a week. You've got 8 weeks, so there's 32 races. That's just for World of Thunder. I've got Monday nights, which was Northwest Racing Association. That was 10, plus another 10 for their pro late model. So there's 20. So I'm looking at 52 between 2 leagues already. Then Down and Dirty Outlaws, they had 8 weeks, 2 shows. So there's another 16. So there's, we're looking at almost 70 just in that. And then Coast to Coast, 2 races every week for what was 11 or 12 weeks. So there's another 24. So like I'm already at 104. Like I'm already nearly at 100 already, and we're only 2.5 months in, and I'm now getting to the point where it's actually, because it's coming to the end of the season, my broadcasting is actually coming down a little bit. But like I won't take any bookings, and this is a night that I get a lot of requests for, Sunday night, and I'm just like, no, like I don't care.
Your Sunday night, right?
I'm Sunday. No, American time.
Okay.
Sunday night, just you will not get me anywhere else except World of Thunder. And a little funny story on how I actually become the World of Thunder announcer was back when Steve started his very first season. They had sprint cars at Charlotte, and I went in there and I was racing, and I actually got ran over by Trey Schmidt. Literally, just flat out ran over.
Trey Schmidt, right? Where you at?
He knows. I told him. I called
He's
him
watching.
out I called him out, right? And he came back at me. And anyhow, right after the race, I went in and Steve was in Discord, and I said, "Is that going to be allowed?" I said, "Because if so," I said, "that's the biggest load of bullshit, right, that I've ever seen." I said, "If that's the way you're going to allow people to drive, I will never come back."
Yeah.
Next week, Steve was meant to do the broadcast. And I just sent him a message. I said, "Who's doing your broadcast?" And he goes, "I was meant to be doing it, but I'm not gonna." He goes, "Why?" I said, "Well, I do broadcasting." And I said, "If you want," I said, "I'll do it for you." He goes, "How much?" I gave him a price, and from there, never gotten away from Steve McMillan. And you know what? He's become one of my best mates on out of the game, but also in game, because from that little moment, and like I said, like a week prior to that, I told him to shove his league up his ass, all because I got ran over. So like I'll never take any bookings on a Sunday night unless I know Steve isn't running. So, but yeah,
lots of broadcasts over the years. One last question that I have for you, Brett, because I know you're a sprint car guy. What are your thoughts on the sprints on this current build compared to other builds?
So I've done 2 races in the last 2 weeks. Okay, 2 league races in Australian time zones. Now I get a discount on my setups from another shop. Okay, I'm not going to say their shop because I try and stay out of the setup shop bullshit drama, and
It's
I've
fine.
said that every Sunday night. You know, you hear me
You
say it in
said
World
it
of Thunder.
in that memorial race.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what? I do it every Sunday night with World of Thunder.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care for it. You know, but yeah, I've done I've done one 410, one 360 on a very fresh racetrack. Like I'm talking like 3 and 5%. Tracks are bumpy as shit. I've hated it. Like it was just dog shit. So it's until the track sort of slickens off and gets those bumps out of it. I don't like it, but I'm not gonna go out there and be vocal on social media. You know, I'll say it in Discord or whatever, and
Yeah.
now again I'll say it on a podcast. But to me, I don't like it. But it's just that it's what they've given us. So everybody's on the same thing. It's just
I think
you deal with it.
we just try to offer constructive criticism through this podcast sometimes, and that's why I like to ask, especially like whenever someone runs a different car than we do regularly. I kind of like to ask their thoughts on it, but that's all I've got for you, Brett. Kiefer, you got anything?
No, we appreciate what you do. You make the iRacing thing exciting, and especially for like whenever I get to show people that I do work for, they'll be asking me like, "Oh, what are your hobbies?" and or like, "What do you do?" And I'll pull up a video of UDTV broadcast, and you got Brett screaming in the background, like, "Oh my god, this is like legit!" And I'm like,
Yep.
"Yeah, this is like serious stuff." And it just we appreciate what you do and what you do for the sport and just the sim racing community, and we're glad to be a part of it and have you here at the podcast today. And it was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, appreciate it, boys. And that's like even broadcasting. Just before I end, like people might get the wrong impression. Like they might think I'm up myself or whatever. But when it comes to broadcasting, like I'm all for competition. It doesn't bother me. Like anyone can do it.
Yeah.
It's just if you want help, message me. Like yesterday, in between World of Thunder races, I had a guy that was struggling with his SDK timing, and I actually set he's up to get him started. And he's not the only one that I've helped do that, right? So and again through SDK, I've built overlays and whatever. You know, he was messaging me, and I said, well, "Okay, we'll come to this Discord. We're just in the middle of a World of Thunder race. I can work on it while you're there." It took me like half hour to fix his issue, and then he comes back at me and goes, "Oh, this isn't working." Well, hang on. I said, "Put this there, rename it as this." I said, and then reload the timing. Bang, it worked. And he goes, "Hey, you're a fucking lifesaver." Well, all you got to do, mate, all you got to do is message me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm happy to help people, you know, like I don't care. Like it doesn't worry me that there might be 10, 15, 50 other broadcasters out there. People are going to go with whoever they want, and depends on what they want to spend. If they want to spend 10, 20, 30,
Yeah.
40, 50, see, like I'm talking, like if you want to iRacing esports broadcast, you're going to spend up to maybe if not more than $100 on their stuff. But it's just people are going to spend their money where they want to spend.
Yep.
And whether they come to me or someone else, it doesn't bother me. Like if you're going to come to me and I'm free, fucking oath, you pay me my money, I'll do it for you. If you don't, hey, good luck to you. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. So
yeah.
Well, we
100%,
appreciate you so much, Brett. And also, I wanted to, Cody brought it up in the chat. I wanted to bring it up as well. I want to just thank you for all the shout outs during the broadcast for NWRA, and any other time we're on the track and any other race, you bring up the podcast and shout that out. I want to thank you for that and appreciate you coming on and like Kiefer said, everything that you do for the scene and for coming on the podcast, my man.
Appreciate it, boys, and just on that too, you guys are the title sponsor, so it's my job as a broadcaster to recognize those sponsors, because you guys are paying for something, and that's one thing that again that I truly believe in, that if you've got someone that's paying money for this to be broadcasted, the money's coming from somewhere.
Right.
It's not falling out of the fucking sky. You've got to recognize the people that help sim racing, and that's one thing that I believe in. I mean, if it was, fuck, I wouldn't be here. I'd be somewhere on an island, still sitting in the wheelchair on a fucking beach somewhere. But
maybe on a beach, but no. But no, we appreciate you. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate you boys having me on.
Yes, sir. We'll be right back. Well, that was the legend himself, Ultimate Dirt TV's Brett Wheeler. Man, dude has made some of the most incredible calls throughout the history of sim racing, and just glad that we had him on for longer than the 4 minutes that we had him on in the Frenzy special.
Absolutely.
So we got a couple of more things to talk about before we wrap this one up. Have you solidified the next race that you're running in real life?
I'm racing Springfield, Missouri, Saturday night.
Saturday night.
I'll be in Springfield, Missouri, Springfield Raceway.
And where can our fans watch that?
I don't know if that one will be live, but I'm almost positive Springfield Raceway has their own TV, which is springfieldraceway.tv, which is also on which is also on Done Right TV. But yeah, no. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep up with it through my race pass.
Yeah.
So we got that. Good luck to you in that, by the way. Is the new rap done?
No, we're still. Here, I'll show stream what I've seen.
Okay, all right. Give a little teaser, a little edge the rap a little bit here. While he's bringing that up, I want to bring up that I will be going live tomorrow for the IMSS Winged League race at Tulsa, and here is the little teaser image.
Let's see if it does it clear up.
Oh yeah, it does. Oh,
it's a
baby.
purple and green.
Classic D Keefe right there.
Well, and then I got also, he sent me this. I don't know if this is the exact, but
that's the new DK. I love that.
That would be it.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of a like Call of Duty customized emblem.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. See what he's got. Said he was in a creative bum last night, so he didn't. I don't think he made anything for the background yet. Exactly. So I'm just waiting for him to get his creative edge. But we're in no rush for the new body. Probably be released. I probably won't post a picture of like the wrap or anything until it's
on the car,
on the race car, and we're headed to the track with it. I don't know. I'm superstitious about some of that stuff. I don't want to, and I like people thinking.
But also,
what's it going to be, and then pop it up. Like, hey, this is.
You need to post on your page soon, the D Keefe Speed page. By the way, if y'all aren't following the D Keefe Speed page on Facebook, go give that a follow. Keep up with Kiefer outside of the podcast and whenever he's on the stream with me. So you've got you said Springfield Saturday night. I've been trying to pay attention. I've been trying to find little nuggets of info, and I haven't found anything about pro qualifiers this year. Not certain if we're gonna have them. But they did kind of announce them last minute. I've been trying to skim through the sources that I have of finding out if we're having them and what the schedule is. Nothing so far, but still excited for them if they happen. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about before we had Brett on, but I realized that we were pushed for time there. Some news that broke yesterday and some news that broke today in the real racing world. Yesterday's news was that 3 drivers got popped for tires failing their sample test. Bobby Pierce, Devin Moran, and Kyle Bronson. And I thought that was big news. And then today's, well, yeah, it is. But then today blew it out of the water with the rumors.
Did you see the tweet?
Which tweet?
There's a tweet like it's. The reason, so say the rumors, and I'll say like my supposed reason why.
Okay, so the rumor is that Hudson O'Neal is out of the Rocket One ride, which blew my fucking mind. Because in my eyes, I don't really see why either party would want to end that deal, considering Hudson had his best year ever last year in his first full year in the Rocket One ride, and then the Rocket One team had one of their best years maybe not ever, but in recent years, and then also won a World 100 with Hudson O'Neal driving it. So I was really shocked whenever that rumor started flying around that Hudson O'Neal was out. What did you have to say about it?
Supposedly, the reasoning behind the Hudson deal was that he couldn't keep his zipper shut, and it got, I don't know what happened. So I'm assuming you could always think somewhere there, but apparently the new person in town is going to be T-Mac in the Rocket House car. At least that's what I've been kind of seeing or hearing. I've also heard Nick Hoffman possibility. Moran's a possibility supposedly, but with his recent suspension,
I
that
don't know
might
if
be
that would play
changed.
any
I
factor
don't know,
in it.
man.
I don't know.
It's
It's just a crazy 2 days in the dirt
there's a lot of
racing
tea
world.
going down.
To go back to the original part of it with what happened yesterday with Bobby Pierce, Devin Moran, and Kyle Bronson all failing a tire tech. My thoughts on that are really just reactions to what everyone else is saying. The first reaction is to the thought or the statement of just allow the tire doping. I disagree with that heavily. I just don't. Something about that rubs me the wrong way. Whenever my dad was telling me, long story short about this, my dad was telling me that this guy that he works with was getting into go-kart racing, dirt track go-kart racing. And that dude found out real quick that it is almost entirely about tires.
It's all about tires.
Yes.
All go-kart racing is like almost 100% tires.
Right. So that alone makes me not like the idea of just allowing doping for tires. I don't like that.
And I've been seeing some go-kart races actually been posted about because they want to do like no prep racing and just and make it about the drivers and just show. But here's the deal with the late model stuff on tire doping or whatever you want to say, chemically altering or tire doesn't meet benchmarks, whatever it is. Okay. What about the guy that qualifies pole that's on it but doesn't run in the top 5? Is that fair for the guys behind him? What about the guy that goes 8th to 4th in the heat race, makes the show on it, but then doesn't run it in the feature?
Right.
How's that? And then, so how are you going to check all of that?
Well, here's the thing.
How do you check all that?
I see both sides of it because I like Bobby Pierce. Do I think he's innocent? I don't know. I don't want to say either way. I do.
There's no racer. There's no racer innocent. There's not a single.
I'm talking in the tire doping part of it.
Yeah,
right.
But
sure, he might be cheating on other things. Who knows? But I do think that the World Racing Group could do with some more transparency on what the results of the lab testing is. Because I think that there could be some false positives based on if they ran over some fluid on the track or if they, spilled some, fuel on it or if they were fucking cheating. Just say this is the compound that we found, blah, blah, blah.
Here's the next thing. All of these guys have been busted. Every single guy on tour right now has been busted probably once or twice.
But were they actually doping their tires?
Well, here's it. So it goes back to kind of what happened in 2004. I know that's way back when, but in 2004, this was a very similar situation. Okay. And they went into lawsuits, and what's probably going to happen realistically is nothing. Dev Moran's going to get slapped on the wrist. Kyle Bronson's going to slap on the wrist. Bobby
they've already handed out the penalty. They know what the penalties are. They can appeal it, and from what I saw on the dirt tracker,
and so there's so many different things that that you can say. You can just say that your exhaust runs into your tire, and then that's where some of the chemicals are coming from. Or you can say you ran over but at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know.
At the end of the day, you don't know.
But here's the thing. Here's another thing with tires altering. if you want to get real down and simple with the rule, okay, you can't wash the tire with anything other than water. And you can't put anything on it. You can't, like, so if you see baby powder, if you see them put soap on the tire, if you see them do any of that, that is technically illegal.
What I think is probably the only solution that would solve it, though I don't know.
I agree with CFM JDM there.
The only thing that I think that would solve it, but I'm not sure if it's logistically possible or even reasonable, is to only sell tires that you can use at the track. Whether that's Hoosier has a hauler full of tires, or World of Outlaws, Dirt Car has a hauler, whatever. For these big events, for these main, whatever you want to say, the only tires that you can run are ones that you can buy at the track. Now, it might make things a little bit more difficult, but for the competitive aspect and the integrity of it, the only way I see that it being completely possible to guarantee that nobody is doping their tires is to make it to where they can only run tires that they buy at the track. So
that's the only way.
That's what I think.
But so, like, kind of what John's saying, I agree. The reason why they do not release the lab results, in my opinion, is because if they release the lab results, people that have some intelligence, you can figure out exactly what they're doing with a chemist, and that it gives you the full rundown. Like Expo says, you can't see what chemicals change, but you can see what chemicals are taken out and which chemicals are in. It gives you that. I'm telling you, I know for a fact it gives you that. I've seen the test. I've done it. I've seen the test and how they do it. But I don't know.
You still just don't know.
It's I could say a lot of things, but they can't be transparent because people would figure it out and then they would use that to their advantage, and that just defeats the purpose, because people would figure out what the chemical, because whenever they did that with when Jimmy Owens got caught, I think in 2014 or something like that, big bust, and they released the lab results. Okay, the next 6 months, everyone was on the same tire prep because it was released. At least around here, I know it. I've been around the sport for a long time.
Are you saying that they were on the same stuff, as in they were on?
Because they figured it out because they released the chemical formula of it. That's why they don't want to post it. They don't want to post it. And then everyone's, so he's using this, and this in order to do that, and that.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. A math problem.
Yeah, it's just something about, I don't know what it is. Something about cheating the tires just really rubs me the wrong way. I don't like it one bit. But regardless, that's really all I have to say about that situation.
It's just a screwed up deal. It is a screwed up deal. I wish we didn't have to even think about it or even deal with it, because I've had tires sent off multiple times last year, and it's just, I don't know. Bolt on a new right rear dude and just rip it. And I run used stuff. For people, it's.
Wait, why does your stuff last so long, Keith? Why don't you answer that? Huh? How's it lasting so long, Keith?
I just did. I'm not saying it again. They can figure that out for themselves. They don't. I run new tires too, but it's just they may be sitting outside for 8 months.
Yeah. So that's really all I wanted to say about that. Then back to the Rocket One situation. If Hudson is out, what moves do you see occurring outside of the rumors? What moves do you see occurring, and who ends up where in this whole situation? Because I
with the current situation right now, dude, with what happened with Moran, with the double down, because that's where Huddy's original ride was.
Yes.
With the double down.
Yep, in the 71, correct?
Does Huddy go back to double down? Moran goes back to Ty Torrig, and Nick Hoffman possibly goes to Paler Motorsports from T-Mac was.
I could see that. I don't know unless here's the thing with T-Mac though, unless he feels a little hurt by the fact that he no longer became the house driver for Longhorn, I don't see him going away from Longhorn. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still with Longhorn.
Rocket's been kind of struggling. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They Longhorn house car for a long time. He's a seasoned veteran in the sport, still can win it. He has a lot of knowledge. Huddy, in my opinion, is just the driver. He might have knowledge. He probably knows more than I do. But from what I'm kind of picking up, also hints of, if the Rocket House car wants to dominate and beat these Longhorn guys and kind of put the Rocket name back up against the Longhorn name, because Longhorn right now is pretty much dominating besides the Rocket 1 car and a few others. So they need to start selling cars.
Here's the thing, though. It's not something had to have went down, right? Because there's Hudson O'Neal is the person that they're looking for. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, Hudson O'Neal, it fits the mold of what they want. They want a young kid. I think what they want is a young kid that they know has a future. But
the Twitter post said it.
To fill the void, I would see someone like Devin Moran or Nick Hoffman, someone that's young, a really good driver. Probably Hoffman over Moran just because of Hoffman's knowledge.
And chassis
not that
building.
they really need it, but
I mean, you take it all in racing, man. You can take all the help you can get.
So that's kind of what I see happening there. But it's just been a crazy past 2 days as far as the real racing stuff goes. Speaking of real racing, Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series, Bama Bash at Talladega this weekend. Friday night got rained out, but Saturday is still on. If anyone watching this wants to meet up, I will be at Talladega Short Track on Saturday. Just shoot me a message. I'll be there as soon as the gates open. If you want to meet up, if you're crazy and want an autograph from this idiot, I'll sign, whatever. But if you just want to meet up and hang out, I will be there at Talladega. We can meet up, drink a beer. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, going to a real race again. And I think the last race that I went to was the Ice Bowl, I believe. So excited to get back to the real racetrack. And then also excited for tomorrow, next week. Tomorrow is the winged race. But yeah, that's really all I got for this episode. What are you doing, brother? Flossing with your headphone cord. You're ready to wrap this thing up, I can tell.
Dude, I yawned like 4 times.
All right.
I've had a long week, man. I've been working, man.
Long week.
I got blue jeans on.
Why don't you do a front flip and send this thing off? God. Damn. All right. Whoa. Easy. Easy.
Pull out the.
Easy. Don't want to get us banned here.
I'm not 100% sure how this is going to go, considering I'm wearing jeans that don't stretch very well. No promises.
Just get it over with. Here we go. Got to send us off with a front flip onto the bed every single time. That one was pretty good. I think that one was really good. You know what? I need to... Hold on.
I'm going to have to look at that one back.
Oh, fuck. It's backwards.
10. Let's go, dude. I felt good. I actually took a step back into my closet. Had like a little start.
So you came out of the closet. Got it. Yeah, so that's all that we've got for this episode, right? You done?
I believe so.
I'm done. I'm ready to get out of here.
Bye.
No.
Yeah, good night. No.
That'll do it for this week's episode of the Plum Wild Podcast. Thank you again to Cody Williams Design for coming back on board and for sponsoring tonight's episode. Again, feel free to use code PlumWild20 whenever you go to Facebook or Instagram and get you a wrap for 20% off at checkout. And as always, for myself and Damian Kiefer, we appreciate you all for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here in the next one.